We're here in Annapolis, Maryland at the state capitol building. This is one of my favorite cities as both my grandpa and my father went to college here at the Naval Academy. It's one of the most historic cities, being the colonial capital of Maryland, starting back all the way in 1671, continuing on until the present as the state's capital. The Capitol building basically rests on a massive roundabout, so there's a bunch of grounds there to actually tour. So let's get into it.
In America exists 50 states, each one containing a unique and grand Capitol building. My name is Fabiano, and in this series I will visit every Capitol building, describing the history, viewing the architecture, and portraying the representation of a state's culture.
So this building was built and completed in 1779, and this actually served as one of the capitals of the United States from around 1781 to 1783. George Washington stood here and resigned as Commander-in-Chief of the Colonial Army in front of the Continental Congress, right here in this building. So it's a crazy history. And then it basically continued on as it is, except for just in 1906 when they added on House and Senate chamber wings. And then besides that, it's basically the same building that was in 1779, just besides minor renovations.
Okay, so this is footage of downtown Annapolis that I got from a parking garage. So you can see the state capitol building here, and then there's a bunch of buildings around it, but the state capitol building is pretty large compared to all the surrounding buildings. The city of Annapolis has 40,000 people. It is 8 square miles, and most of that is land, obviously, but there's about a square mile of water. And as you can see here, Annapolis is basically right on the coast of the Chesapeake Bay, and the state capitol building basically sits inside of a large circle. They call it the state circle, so you basically drive around. It's like a big roundabout. You can see that there's a big downtown area. This is like the main street here, and then on the other side is where the Naval Academy is and everything like that. Overall, I really like this city. It's very, very cute. And as for colonial type cities, you really get that vibe. This is the outside of the Capitol building. It's a statue of Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, and then they have this big timeline out front of important things that he was involved in. Here's another statue. It's basically for the Supreme Court case of Murray v. Pearson. I don't really know that much about the history of that, but here's the shot of the building. You can see that it looks great. And then this is us up on the steps. You can't actually go in this way, but we decided to go up here to actually take the shot. And it looks really cool. You get a good view. All of these buildings around here are basically just government offices, so there's nothing too much, and it's all just kind of bricks, but it looks very colonial, you know what I mean? And so this is the inside of the Capitol building. This is just a bathroom shot, and that's very blurry for some reason. Anyway, this was the bulk of the building. We were really only allowed to go on I think it was just the first floor, which is fine, but it's kind of annoying, especially because I don't even think there were that many people there. So it's we had our movement very restricted compared to other Capitol buildings. Here's the stamp in our booklet here. Here is the House of Representatives, I think. You can see that it's a modern building because they have all the technology, all of the names on the sides. This is the other chamber. I believe this one is the Senate. You can see also both chambers have that big overview looking area in the very back where you can watch them do it. Here is the first 4 signers of the Constitution from Maryland, which is a cool history statue that they have there. Here is the guest book. So me and Matt, of course, both put our name in here. I always put our names in the guest book whenever we go to a place, just because why not? It's fun. I always try to get that little clip of us doing it too. Besides that, there's a bunch of other decorations. So this room just has a lot of cool old cutlery and dishes and everything like that. I like the historical stuff in the Capitol. Again, I'm just kind of mad that we couldn't go up on the other floors, but in my head, the other floors are probably literally just offices, so I kind of understand that. This is a model that they have of the dome, so you can see the actual outside structure of the dome is completely built up, and then the interior is separate. This is just a shot of a random room. This is George Washington's farewell speech. It actually is very interesting. So, like I said, outside of the building, George Washington resigned as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army here in this building, which is just completely insane. This is actually the room that he did that in, and this used to be the capital of the United States of America, and right after the Revolution, which is just a crazy history. This room also contains really cool statues of Frederick Douglass, and the other one I think is Harriet Tubman. Yeah, I got it right. I'm obviously doing this audio after the footage, so I'm trying to remember as I did it. This room is very nice room. I'm kind of sad that like we couldn't just walk beyond the gates, but I kind of get it. This is a statue of, I think, Thomas Jefferson, and then he's just reading out the Declaration of Independence there. This is just very basic room. Besides that, they have this like cool up area. This room just has an insane amount of portraits. I don't even know like who half these people are. There's a giant portrait of George Washington there, and then there's an old sword from the Revolution era. It's basically just a generic sword, like it doesn't say it's anyone's, but it's really cool to see. This is basically the stairwell that used to take you up to the dome. Obviously, it's blocked off now because they don't really want to allow people to do that. And then here again is the resignation. This is a story basically saying, someone from Annapolis just saw it. And then here's like, they have like a TV screen of it, and then they have the text of it, which makes sense. I mean, it's a really big deal, so I kind of get like putting it everywhere inside of this building. But besides that, there's really not that much history. And yeah, that was the interior. So here's the outside of the building. Being located on its own like big traffic circle actually really helps it. I remember when I first looked at this on Google Earth, it seemed really weird that it would just be like circular shaped, but in my mind it actually really helped it because it had so much like grounds and it felt natural, right? There wasn't any like parking lots, there wasn't any cars, because like you have this big area because of the roundabout where it's just the Capitol, walkways, and plants and trees and everything. Here is the national landmark plaque that's outside the building. And here again, very big important building, so it's great to see that included. But yeah, I really like the exterior of this building a lot, and especially I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And obviously the surrounding city of Annapolis is just amazing. Okay, so that was the Maryland Capitol building. We were only allowed to go on the first floor, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. As always, I hope you have a great day.